miss all my family, the food, all like the candies and things like that they don't seem to sell here. Meat pies, Australian football, the weather, of course, it's always pretty nice over there. I really hate snow now.
Yeah, I started going, I didn't go back until, I think that was the summer of maybe 2001. My mother's brother was getting married, and since then I've been back, I believe, 3 times, and the most recent was this past summer. So somewhat often, I'd say.
I was there for my birthday in March. I go twice a year, so I'll be going again probably in October. My American passport says my birthplace is Aruba, so I go through the what they call the residence line or the EU line, and I'm always welcomed. When they look at my passport, they always say welcome home. Whoever the agent is, whoever the officer is in immigration always says welcome home. And whenever anyone discovers that I was a Lago kid, which is the name of the oil company was Lago Oil and Transport Company, and whenever they find out that I had grown up in Aruba and that I'm back, they're thrilled to know that a Lago kid has come home, because they're just delighted that we all love the island so much. Every 3 years there's a big reunion at one of the fancy hotels of people who grew up in Aruba and who worked in Aruba. And that's always a huge time of celebration for people on the island, because they're just so gracious, so delighted to have us home. This past year we were there when a book was published about the oil company, and we were invited. There were 4 of us who were born and raised in Aruba, and all of us are American except the fact that I'm dual. And we were all invited to come to the book opening. It was televised on the local station, and everybody was so thrilled to have Lago kids come back for the book signing and the celebration of the book. They're just incredibly wonderful people. In their national anthem, they say that the greatest value of Aruba is the cordiality of their people, and it's so true. They're just incredible people. The source of income has changed, because it originally was a quite poor island. Well, I don't mean that the people were poor, but there were few resources. And they grew aloe and supplied a huge percentage of the world's aloe. Then then there was a gold rush. There was a small gold rush. And then crude oil started being refined from Venezuela and from other areas. So there was the American oil industry, the Dutch oil industry were both there. When those 2 industries went into a deep decline, the island turned to tourism. So now tourism is the main source of income, and beaches that were pristine with nothing on them when I grew up now have what we call the Las Vegas strip of hotels on them. The population has increased. It's doubled. It was 55,000 when I was growing up. It's about 120,000 now. They have always, since the 1880s, they've always had full employment and always had to import employees. Right now they have visas out, work permits out to the Philippines for 1,000 workers for the hotel industry, because the people from the Philippines can speak English, and the other jobs are filled by people. In the hotel industry, you have to be able to speak English. If you can't speak English, then you have to be in a job where you're not interacting with the tourists. So there are a lot of gardeners and housekeeping people from Colombia and the Dominican Republic. Those are 2 countries where Aruba has granted work visas, so people from those countries can come into those jobs. They have a hotel and hospitality, restaurant, school, so that the people who come there can go to school and learn how to function within the tourism.
Well, my relatives, were very, they hadn't seen me since I was very, very young, so they were really excited to see how I looked. In terms of general, it's kind of interesting. I think I give off like, you know, an American vibe, I could say, you know, which is some people, I guess people kind of take that in different ways. Sometimes they kind of treat me extra nice, sort of. But in other times, I think they kind of look down on me for whatever reason. So I kind of get a range of reactions, I suppose. Like I'm like fancy American, sort of trying, I don't know, I guess that they kind of think of Americans as being like condescending, sort of. So there's a little bit of like tension there, I think. Like, you know, when I speak Polish, I have an American accent, so they can pretty much tell automatically. Oh yeah, well, you know, we, at least, you know, I can only speak for my family, but they are a lot more frugal with their money, I'll say. And it's not because they're really poor, it's just, that's how it is. They just really save their money. And we don't have to do that as much, especially with the exchange rate, which, you know, it's gotten worse, but it's still pretty good. You know, we can spend a fair amount of money there. And the last time I went there in summer of '07, you know, I was there, I'm there once a year, every 2 years, so I wanted to do things and not worry too much about, you know, how much money I spend, and they really didn't like it. Like, they were really not used to it, like going to restaurants and stuff like that. So, you know, there was like a little bit of tension there. My uncle, who I was staying with, I think pretty much the most direct thing that he said was, because, you know, I would offer to go to restaurants and things and to pay. And he was like, you know, we're not used to, you know, getting treated like when we have guests, we usually just take care of them. But the thing is, if I didn't offer, we wouldn't go anywhere, you know. So I don't want to go there and sit in their house for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was there, that was about 2 years ago. So we go almost every other year. And this summer, we're going to go back for a visit pretty normally. I mean, we usually just see family and friends that always know us. I get back a bit of an accent when I go, so I can sort of blend in a little bit more than no one seems to really notice. I don't know. They also have American television, like programs and things, so sometimes they sort of dismiss it or they don't really care. There are a couple small things, I suppose. I don't really remember exactly how things are laid out, I guess, just in location-wise. There is like, they are starting to build up more on certain things, but the rest of it, I don't know, it seems pretty much the same. I mean, families sort of change around or whatever, but I mean, we still hear about it, so it's not a big change at all. I do. A year from now, I definitely are thinking about it. My family is definitely going to, so I think I'll probably join them unless I find a better job somewhere else to keep me away.